Hello everyone. Today I just wanted to talk to you on a simple method I am using to trade. It's called a free order flow zone, and I'm just going to give you a straight to the point method of how to trade the free order flow zones. I have pretty much have a three-step checklist here in 1, 2, 3, right? Identifying the zone, evaluating the zone, and trading the zone. So we are first going to start from identifying the zone. So identifying the zone is fairly easy. Depends on if we are uptrend or a downtrend. But we are looking for a QM that worked perfectly in the past, and then the swap of this QM. So let's find a nice example, like for example here. Let's go to the lower time frame. We have this QM, as can be seen here, right? It can be seen that the QM works perfectly at this area right here. So that means this is full of orders, this zone right here. You can draw like this, right? And it can be seen also from this push up, right? That it's indeed a flag limit, because it keeps the price up. In here, in this area, you can see that price breaks the flag limit. Let's make it flag limit. You can see here clearly here the break, right? The flag limit. And then we need to wait for the next zone to develop, or like I said, the swap. So we unfortunately in this place right here, it is unsafe to take a trade. I never take trades in this area. I will just wait for price to create a swap of this QM. So this would be our free order flow zone. So the logic behind it is very simple. If we had interest from institutional traders to trade at this area right here, that means that in the future when we swap, we will have an interest in trading in this area as well. So after the price concludes this movement and concludes this swap area, we can very clearly see there will be a couple of things that happen inside this area. So for me to take a trade, I would either look at the lower end of the area around here, right? So when price breaks here the low, we have a decision point for that, which will be right this area right here. So you could be trading around this area for the sell, with a stop loss above here, because a stop loss above the whole area does not make sense, right? You can take 1 to 2, 1 to 3 risk reward trade in this area. Obviously, you will go into the lower time frame and find a nice QM or an ignored QM that you can trade. So for example, this, you can trade this QM, and I think here is another QM, a high, higher high, a lower low, and here I have this area here that you can trade. for a down movement, right? So this is the first area where I would be looking to make a sell. The second area is I would start looking into the QM levels inside the free order flow zone, as they constitute a target for our price. So as you can see here, it's a clearly a high here. I like to be, let's say, something that is not clear to me, I would not take, but this is fairly clear, and it can be seen that there is indeed a standalone high here. So I will just draw it across here, and these are the two main areas that I would look for price to bounce, right? Either here, some of you know, will be our resistance RS, right? This is our decision point to break. Also, RS will form something like this, and this is our decision point to break. I know it's a lot of terminology, but it's all the same thing. And here you have a QM level. Let's call it that. QM level. And once the price reaches to this QM level, we wait for some type of price action to happen, right? We don't just touch trade this, right? As can be seen here, this is higher time frame, but in lower time frame, can very clearly be seen that there is a FL that keeps the price up. This is QM level is our target inside the bigger zone, and then you can take the sell around this area with a stop loss above the high. So this would give you a very good chance. Let's see how much is your risk. It's around 20 pips, 25 pips risk, and then you're looking at your, let's say, first target is at the low. You can clearly make around 1 to 3 risk reward, even more than that, right? So just being patient in these scenarios is crucial, right? You just have to wait for the market to reveal its hands, pretty much. So let's go through the process once again. We identify a QM that has worked in the past, right? We start at this area. Once we identify this QM, we would wait to form a area, right, a new high, to confirm that indeed there was orders in this area, right? And then we would wait for a swap. A swap is pretty much a zone that breaks this previous one and makes a new low in this area right here. And then there is two areas that you need to be looking at and trading. Is the lower part of the zone, or the RS, and you need to look into the higher part of the zone, the QM levels. Okay, so this constitutes one example. Let's look at something else, if we can identify something on the chart. Please bear with me because I haven't seen this big before. Let's see. Okay, so here, this is one good example, I think. Let's see, M5, let's go to lower time frame. So obviously the higher the time frame you're looking at, the more pips you can get from a single movement. Let's see here. this is a QM. Did it work? Yeah, I think so. If we take this as our flag limit, right, it keeps the price up. And then we have the LSK around this. I would guess around this area. This is more like it. Because this upper zone I don't like. Well, I don't think it's a good example, to be honest with you. I wouldn't really trade this one. You know what? I don't really like this example. I probably, in life, I wouldn't take this trade. So let's look into another example. What I don't like in this trade is the way it's super chaotic in this area. I don't like this. So I would definitely avoid trading this one. Let's look into another example then. In that case, let's see if there are any good examples of this. Okay, so here is a good example, in my opinion. We have a high, a higher high, lower low, a low, and a lower low, right? So this constitutes our QM from the, well, basically it's from here, but it's a clearer QM. So we have a high to the open of the candle, and you can see clearly after the lower low here in this area, price keeps down. So that means there were orders loaded in this area to keep price down. So then what we'll do is, again, take this area and we would look into a swap of it, right? So that would mean a break in this area, for example, right? So you have the swap. Let's call it swap. So what we said before, right, is we would want to take the, let's see, we would like to look into this area right here first of all, right? And then would like to look into a possible QM level, right? Somewhere here. So you can see here that price clearly made a movement here from the RS, let's say, but I don't see any clear price action, and I also don't see any clear price action here that I would be trading. So I would definitely be very reserved about this trade. So as you can see, not all of the trades and all of the zones are tradable. So in this area we obviously find the zone, right, and we evaluate the zone. We don't see a clear let's say a base in this area, right? So that's something that I wouldn't recommend trading, just having a single candle here. Definitely not. And here inside the QM level also I would avoid trading here because we have no price action. I don't see any QM that is tradable for me in this area, or IQM. So I would mark this area, like I said in the beginning. We have the identifying the zone, evaluating, and trading the zone. So these are three different ways of approaching it, right? The three different things that you need to do when approaching this type of setups. So we identified the zone and we evaluated the zone by finding some good places that price can reach and create a price action for us so we can enter the market. But obviously none of these were present in this area. So in this case I wouldn't trade this area right here. So you need to also realize that if you're trading a specific strategy, you need to adhere to the rules of it, so that you don't get losses pretty much. If you take these types of trades, yeah, this trade worked now. In this area it worked, but you need to have a better understanding of the hard time frames and stuff like that, which most of you will struggle in the beginning, so it's better to look into a strategy that's easy and simple. So let's look into another example. We have a QM area right here. This would be our, as you can see, it worked perfectly, right? So this will be our flag limit area. Okay, then we have a swap of it. We have a swap here, and the swap is confirmed by creating a new high in this area. So what we did is we identified the zone, right? Then we wait for the zone to form, and then, as we said before, we're looking into what the upper side or the lower side, depending on if it's an uptrend or downtrend. In this case, it's this area right here. It's the RS, and then I would be looking into any potential QM levels that might be of interest in this area. That would be this low here, right? Or let's do it in this QM level, right? It's an obvious low. It's actually two lows here. So this for me is QM level. So then we wait, right? We wait for some price action to appear on our chart so that it can be tradable. First, actually it appears in this area, as I can see, and maybe in the lower time frame. This is a QM. I don't know if let's change the color to some blue. Right. So what do we have here? We have a low, a high, a lower low right here, and a higher high right here. So this is a good area where you can place a trade. I will place my trade around this area right here, and you can pretty much, if you wait for this, you can do easily, let's see, 5 pips, 6 pips. You can do 1 to 2 risk rewards, or you can wait for the higher, but I wouldn't recommend. This is risky in my opinion. So 1 to 2 risk reward is very good in this type of conditions. Also here the market is closing, so it's going to be hard for, maybe the spread even is going to be not very good in this area. Okay, and after we receive something like this, a push from the RS, the top zone, I would not be looking into trading this zone again, right? Because when, that's what I've noticed, is when we have a fresh zone like this, we need to take it. If we want the best win rate, right? We need to obviously take it the first time, because it's the probability of having orders there is the best. Of course, there are other zones that works 2 times, 3 times, but you just you don't wanna. In the way I trade, I just do the first time, and then I don't look at it anymore. And the other area is the QM level, which pretty much only gets touched around this area right here. But you need to consider that this whole movement up is a pretty long time, and price I think hit some target over here, and we definitely need to see some kind of price action in this area if you want to trade this QM level. But if I see something like this, how much this is, almost a month price action, I would most probably be treating this trade with extreme care. As can be seen here, there is no QM forming or anything, so I will just scrap this trade. Okay. Let's look at another example. Let's see here. I see a QM that worked. Let's look into the lower time frame. Okay, so then we have this as our area, right? I know it's a big area, but what can you do about it? And we have a break around here. This is our free order flow zone, or the swap in this case. Free order flow is just a swap, guys, don't complicate it. And let's look into the lower time frame to identify our places of interest. So this is our initial zone, right? And this is, because it's M1, it's extremely unlikely, pretty much this would be your RS, and there is a lower time frame, even lower than that, that would get our QM. So in this case, what I do is I don't really look into the RS and the QM level, right? Because the zone is so small. I will just draw the zone as is right here and wait for some reaction. And we can see here, after price hit the zone, we create a beautiful price action, in my opinion, for buying into this area. So we have a low, a high, a lower low, and a higher high, and I would definitely be looking to enter around this area right here. Right, as a QM. So in this case, because this was a H1 free order flow, we'll have a bigger reaction, right? Even though it's a lower time frame swap, can be seen here, it's a H1 QM here in the first place. So I would expect a big movement, right? But what you can do is take, in these cases, you can take a 1 to 3 or a 1 to 5. So you would enter around this area and put your stop loss below the low, so that's like 10 pips, 15 pips, right? And you can do 1 to 5 easily, right? You can exit at your first target here at the high, pretty safe, take profit in my opinion. Still a 1 to 3. If you want to hold it, you can close 20, 50, 70% of your trade and let the rest go to a higher target, which in my opinion is this gap over here. So I think here the principle of trading these type of zones is extremely simple, right? I try to explain it as simple as possible so that you guys can understand it. There is 3 steps: identifying the zone, evaluating the zone, so pretty much the RS and the other targets within that zone, the pre-order flow zone, right? And then it's trading the zone. So trading the zone will include the price action that we receive at the RS or the QM level or the MPL, you can say. And it's extremely simple strategy, right? If you follow these 3 steps of filtering your trades using this pre-order flow method, you can easily achieve somewhere between 65 and 75% win rate, in my opinion. I have tested this before and I know it works, but you need to journal your trades to see which are the good ones, which are the bad ones, which ones you should avoid, like I explained to you here. Alright. Most of the trades that we saw were either something that I wouldn't trade or I'm not comfortable with trading. So you have to see for yourself which ones are the ones that you're comfortable with and which one you're not comfortable with trading, right? And of course, for every strategy or every way of trading a setup, you need to have a discipline of the risk and money management, right? If you don't have that, then there is no point in even starting to learn any type of setup for that matter. So yeah, thank you, bye.